Hey everyone, you're watching KTAL News Now. I'm your host Anthony Mocklin, and today is Wednesday, which means it is Wellness Wednesday, where we will be talking about a bunch of different health topics and how you can apply tips to your life and advice and strategies to live a healthier, normal, better life. And one of our first topics involves local news where a brand new dermatology clinic was recently opened on Fern Avenue in Shreveport, and KTAL's Jackie Jovic has the details.
Local leaders attended the ribbon cutting for the Oshner LSU Health Dermatology and Facial Plastics Clinic. The clinic will focus on preventing, diagnosing, and treating skin conditions. They'll also provide aesthetic services such as laser hair removal and Botox. One of the board-certified plastic surgeons is a Shreveport native who has returned to his hometown.
No, it really is. It's pretty exciting. One, to move back home, but to be a part of something big like this, to see LSU and Oshner create a clinic like this in the really great location. I feel honored to be a part of it. I'm really excited to see what we can do for the community here.
They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m.
And it's nice to see that that clinic is available now to residents of our community and our area. But another thing regarding not just skincare and dermatology involves sports medicine, and specifically for the Shreveport Mudbugs hockey team that we have in Shreveport. And they just announced that they have signed a 3-year deal with Willis Knighton Health to be the official sports medicine provider of the Mudbugs. And their goal is to keep the players and athletes healthy and also provide financial support to the team through sponsorships and just various ways to help the team out in any way they can. And if you've been watching KTAL News Now previously on our previous episodes of Wellness Wednesday, you'll know just how important the role of an athletic trainer is. We've covered them extensively, especially with football season ramping up for local high schools and college teams. And just the role that they play is just immense behind the scenes. Just like I said, keeping those players healthy and ready to go on the field, so that it might be just entertainment to us, but that's their livelihood. That's what they do for a living. It's just making sure that everything is up to par and up to standards to ensure that the entertainment and the teams are putting on the best performance they possibly can at 100% strength and health, and just doing all they can to ensure that happens, every weekend or whenever games are being held, whether it's Shreveport hockey or local schools and high school football or other sports. So, and then I know this from personal experience because my dad is an athletic trainer for Mount Carmel Academy in New Orleans, Louisiana, and he's been an athletic trainer ever since, I think, pretty sure before I was born. So he's coming up on 30 years in the business, so I'd say he knows a thing or two. But just being around him growing up, it just made me appreciate just what the work that goes behind the scenes to, like I said, ensure these athletes are at their full potential and there's no problems that will inhibit them from playing at the highest level that they possibly can for not just the team, but for the fans and the community that supports them. So, and the Mudbugs are starting up really soon, so if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, be sure to look at their website. You can find more information about the deal between Willis Knighton Health and the Shreveport Mudbugs on our website at ktalnews.com, which is also where we will be streaming KTAL News Now live every Monday through Friday, weekdays at 1 p.m. So be sure to follow along with us. We'll have plenty more events and things to talk about this weekend tomorrow as we look ahead to the weekend events, and then followed by another edition of Fantasy Football Friday this Friday. So don't miss it. Be sure to be there, like I said, on ktalnews.com every day at 1 p.m. I'll be seeing you there. I'll be your host every single day. But our next topic involves, how the Shreveport Mudbugs, we have a hockey team right in our backyard. But what's also in our backyard is the Shreveport Farmers Market, where we have a bunch of different local farmers and businesses that are looking to, sell local and sell their own creations, whether it's through their own homegrown food or jellies or jams or soaps that they made, a bunch of different homemade household items that are available on full display every Saturday. But the season is wrapping up. Their final day at the Shreveport Farmers Market is next Saturday, August 23rd. But they'll have this Saturday and then the next Saturday, and that's it for the season. And that will be held from 8 a.m. to noon on both Saturdays, so don't miss it. This is the last chance you have for the Shreveport Farmers Market. But like I said, it's a great way to, incorporate better nutrition and eat better in your daily life, because nutrition is also a super, super important part of staying healthy and, living the best you can every day, because your body will thank you for it. Trust me. It is a very important part of not just exercise and everything, but nutrition is arguably as important, or if not more important, than just normal exercise, because what you're putting into your body every day, it can be very detrimental if it's not very healthy for you, and it can lead to several long-term problems and effects later on. So this is a great way to not only improve your nutrition and your diet, but also to support local farmers and creators. And KTAL's Susan Curtin got to sit down with Emery Holtzclaw with the Shreveport Farmers Market for more information.
Farmers markets do play such a vibrant role in a community.
Absolutely.
It really hooks people together with local produce and sustainable food. And it's really, really important, I think, that you get out and you support local, but also you're eating the best foods you can in the freshest ways that you can.
Absolutely. And it's like a farm to pantry, farm to table. And it's just a way to connect with the people that are getting their hands dirty and actually growing those things, and they take so much pride, and I get to go around and do farm visits and see everything they do, and it is just amazing. There's not enough time in the day.
I'm sure there's not. It's an event, actually, I think, going to a
Right.
farmer's market. You're going to run into 8 million people, first of all. But you can also, you can get a mocktail, a cup of coffee. You can get a cocktail. You can get food. They're making food there. They're making breakfast. They're making tacos. I mean, it really is so much fun just to get up on a Saturday morning and go stroll around the market, get your fresh vegetables and fruits for the week, and your jams and jellies and some of your soaps and things like that. And feel like you've done something good, but you're also getting things that you need.
Absolutely. And it feels like a reunion, like every Saturday, right? It's
Right.
like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in so long. But it's also just a great way to support local, right?
Right.
And to keep that local economy going. And, some of these people have made this into their livelihood. And so we are actually supporting the very small businesses from their starts. And it's so great to see what businesses have got their start at the Shreveport Farmers Market and then gone on to do better things. Key Mexico started with a 6-foot table at our market, and it's just so amazing to watch people blossom in their businesses.
Shreveport Business Company, another one's
the Shreveport Biscuit Company, yes.
They've now got a brick and mortar, and now they are supporting farmers, and they have things in their it really is amazing. So.
It's almost like a food incubator.
Yes, it really is.
And on top of nutrition being very important for daily health and just better lifestyle, mental health is also extremely important, especially for children. And when it comes to domestic violence, and whenever that's something they have to witness in their house, it can be extremely detrimental for their growth and just their mindset on an outlook on life. And Shreveport law enforcement is actually partnering with community leaders to address the domestic violence crisis, specifically and the effects it has on children. And KTAL's Elisha Gatewood has more details on that.
In recent months, Shreveport police have seen a troubling rise in domestic violence cases. Officials say even when children aren't the direct victims, the damage can last a lifetime.
Because even if they're not a victim and they are present when domestic violence or any other traumatic event occurs, there are long-term effects for that. There are emotional effects, and you have behavioral problems.
A new universal form used by first responders is helping connect school-aged children from these situations to the Caddo Parish School Board for early intervention.
That student gets off the bus and cannot handle what they just experienced.
Advocates say giving children a safe space is critical.
We affirm to them that their voice matters and that it's meant to be heard, and that in this room there's no form of judgment or shame, just a listening ear ready to support and hear what they have to say.
The Caddo Parish DA's office says protecting children is the first step to breaking the cycle.
Children who witness domestic violence are far more likely to either become abusers or to become victims of violence.
From law enforcement to schools to advocacy centers, the main goal is to stop violence and keep kids from becoming the next generation caught in the grip of domestic violence.
And another thing you can do to protect children outside of the home, especially in the classroom, if you're a teacher and you want to instill that safety with kids, specifically for fire-related safety matters, the Shreveport Fire Department has recently put out their Fire Prevention Friday, and this month's theme is Back to School Safety, where they're posting informative posts about how, people can implement different strategies in the classroom to protect these kids against fires, whether it's at a fire drill or any other scenario where there's a fire that occurs in a real life scenario. And based on, data that was conducted from 2014 to 2018, there were about over 3,200 school-related fires that occurred each year during that period. Now, most of these are due to arson, but it's still important. The Shreveport Fire Department still wants to focus on preventable fires and preventing them before they even happen, so that nothing detrimental happens, nobody gets hurt, and there's no serious damage to any classroom or school. And one tip that they recommend is being sure that all doors and at least one window in the classroom or the building is accessible to escape from or exit out of. They also recommend using flame retardant materials on curtains as well as any decorations that are up in the classroom. They wanted to limit the amount of wall art and decorations on a particular wall to about 20% of the surface area, just to limit the amount of things that can actually catch on fire if you are in a room that is made of cement or brick, something that's not easily, flammable, that can catch on fire and then spread to other areas of the building or the classroom. One other tip is to limit the amount of extension cords that are in use of the classroom. If you have to use one, please do not run it under a rug in the classroom or up along the wall or through the ceiling. That is one thing that they said to try to limit as much as possible. And they said be aware of your surroundings and to try to familiarize yourself with not just the campus or the classroom and just the exits that are available, but make sure that you know exactly what their emergency response is and evacuation protocols if there is an actual fire, and also know where all of the extinguishers are. If there's one very close to you, keep that in mind if something ever happens like that, and also know where all of the fire alarm pull down systems are in case something does happen. You have one to alert everybody else to know that, oh hey, there's a fire, we need to get everybody out of here. But that is also in order, if something like that happens, please know that you can be prepared if you run routine fire drills at least once a month at your school, and make sure that everybody participates, from the faculty to the staff to all the students, to make sure that everybody is ready in case anything happens, just to prevent any serious or damaging things from happening. But if you are at home, parents can also help in terms of preventing fires around the house and making sure that their kids are safe by implementing smoke alarms and making sure that there's at least one smoke alarm near every sleeping area. And if your house is multiple stories, to make sure that there's one on at least every single level, and to be sure to test them monthly to make sure they're still in proper working condition. And if there's a fire that ever breaks out at the house, make sure that you have an escape plan to know where all doors or all windows are, to make sure that you can get out of the house safely, and not just get out of the house, but to have a a sort of rendezvous point outside to where you can all meet up in case anybody gets lost, or make sure that nobody gets left behind. Make sure you have a designated area to where if there's a fire, you go and and everybody in your family will be there to, you know, assess the next steps and where to go from here. But there's also things where before a fire happens to make sure that you are implementing, which includes like safe cooking tips. If kids are going to be home alone, make sure to limit the amount of snacks that they're eating or trying to make where they don't need like to warm them up or heat them up. And the best way to do that is to only use microwaves if they absolutely need to use it, because that using a stove is way different than using a microwave and just plugging in the buttons. But it can be very bad if, you know, a button is accidentally pressed on the microwave to where it's too long and it ends up burning whatever's inside of it. And the best way to do that whenever that happens is to make sure that the microwave is turned off, unplugged, and then that the door is closed just to contain it within that microwave so it doesn't spread everywhere else or potentially explode. Especially if you accidentally put metal in the microwave, be sure that to instill in your kids that no metal should go in the microwave at all. That's the worst possible scenario, and it can lead to super detrimental effects and explosions in some cases. So that's the best way. That's best to be avoided at all costs. But before, you know, kids go back to school, because kids are starting up school this week, and some have already started like last week, but some are still, you know, waiting for that first day. But students specifically in Texas need to be sure that they are up to date with their vaccinations and immunizations, because in Texas it is required by state law that they are up to date with their immunizations before they can officially attend class. And the vaccines that are implemented include ones for hepatitis A and B, as well as tetanus shots. So be sure you're up to date with that. The Texas Department of State Health says that they have implemented a catch-up schedule for those who either have not met any vaccine requirements or are a little behind on getting them before school starts. So you can find more information about on our website at ktalnews.com to see where exactly you can find the requirements needed for local schools in Texas to make sure that you are up to date. And if you are unsure, or if you want more help specifically in your scenario to make sure that your kids are up to date, be sure to contact your family doctor and as well as local school districts to see where you stand on their requirements, as well as the progress you're making towards getting them ready for school, and so that they can start day one without any problems and just focus on being the best they can in the classroom and just soaking up all the information they can. That's the best case scenario. Like I said, you can find more information on that, as well as the requirements that include all of the vaccines needed before you can start school, on our website at ktalnews.com, which is also where we stream KTAL News Now every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Like I said earlier, be sure to tune in tomorrow as we'll look ahead to the weekend to see what's going on around town and what you can do this weekend if you don't have any plans, you want to get out the house, have a date night, you know, anything, we got you. I promise you'll want to tune in for that, as well as if you're gearing up for fantasy football, because football is right around the corner. We are less than a month away, a little over 3 weeks, I believe, from the first NFL game on September 4th. So be sure to be ready for fantasy football if you're having your drafts next weekend or on Labor Day weekend. You won't want to miss Fantasy Football Friday, this Friday at 1 p.m. on KTAL News Now, where we'll be going over the top 10 running backs you need to target in your drafts. Running back is as scarce as it is now with the ever-changing landscape of fantasy football and the just getting away from the traditional bell cow running back. It is very important to secure your running backs early, especially if you have to start two of them, which is the normal lineup. It's very crucial to be picking and targeting the right ones, especially early on, just hammering home running backs so you can worry about your receivers later. Because if you're playing with a flex spot, you most likely will be starting 3 wide receivers, more receivers than running backs. So as scarce as it is, it's very crucial to, like I said, make sure you're picking the right ones and that can carry you season long and barring injury will produce and help you hopefully win a championship. So, like I said, you can tune in to KTAL News Now tomorrow and Friday, as well as next week, every day, Monday through Friday, on weekdays at 1 p.m. on KTALnews.com. You can find our previous Fantasy Football Friday, as well as all of our older shows on our YouTube at KTAL News under the KTAL News playlist. And you can catch us on KTAL News Now, like I said, live Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. on KTALnews.com. And that's also where you can find any local breaking or trending stories. Anything that you want covered, you can reach me at amocklin@KTALnews.com. If you want me to talk about a specific topic or do a different segment, I'm all ears. I'm open to any feedback. Or if you just want to talk movies, sports, entertainment, anything, I got you. Like I said, that's amocklin@KTALnews.com. But for now, I'm your host, Anthony Mocklin. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Be sure to tune in to KTAL News Now, like I said, tomorrow and Friday at 1 p.m. But for now, I'm Anthony Mocklin, and thank you so much for joining us.